Good evening, everyone. This is Corey here in the Weather Center. It is 7:04 Eastern, 6:04 Central. Before we get started, you guys let me know if everything sounds good on the audio part. If you guys can hear me, let me know. Make sure everything sounds good. And I want to make sure there's no music playing as well in the background. So you guys just let me know. Looks like things are going good. And also, if you guys don't care to share the stream, number one way to support the team here is to give this video, live video, a share. We would greatly appreciate that. Appreciate all the support. So it looks like everything sounds good, so we'll go ahead and get started. So this is a new severe thunderstorm watch that the Storm Prediction Center has issued. They issued this about 45 minutes ago. This does include at least the southern half of Kentucky and a lot of middle Tennessee. And this is going to go until 1 a.m. Central Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Again, number one severe weather threat here tonight, or this evening into tonight, is going to be damaging winds, and then a isolated couple tornadoes is possible, and some instances of some small hail is also possible. This is not a situation, in my opinion, comparable to last night. I think last night's was a little bit stronger of a system, or a little bit better of a setup as far as severe weather is concerned. So I don't think we're going to be looking at the intensity that we was last night. But nonetheless, you guys know how severe weather in Kentucky operates. Anytime we have severe weather on the table, we cannot frown upon it. We have to make sure we're paying attention to all the latest information, the latest radar trends, and then once the storms arrive, we kind of got to play it hour by hour to see how these storms evolve. So that is the latest severe thunderstorm watch. Here is the latest radar. And we'll do a quick zoom out here, and let's go to the Paducah radar. And again, these storms are not very impressive on radar right now, which is some good news. So let's just kind of go with, again. Let's go back over here with Paducah, and we'll put this radar into motion. Now, one thing I do want to point out here in just a second. We'll look at the Futurecast radar. Okay. One thing I do want to point out is the storm activity is kind of right in this neck of the woods, right? That's kind of where the strongest part of this system is. One thing I do want to point out is ahead of the system, we have a lot of light rain that has kind of developed out ahead of the thunderstorm activity. This is going to help reduce the severe weather threat. Again, I don't think the severe weather threat's superly high to start with, but a lot of this rain out ahead of the main thunderstorm activity is going to take any type of energy away from the atmosphere, and that's going to cause these storms to kind of going to choke these storms off, so to say. And that's what you're kind of seeing here on radar as we put this radar into motion. Get rid of this here. Let's go to another radar site here if we can get a little bit closer. Maybe not. Memphis probably. Yeah, let me go just to regular relative activity. Let's try to get something better here. But you can kind of see these storms here over the last little bit. Kind of this area of storm activity here and this area of storm activity here. If you'll watch just kind of over the last, say, hour, those storms have slowly weakened. And I do believe that is because of all of this rain activity kind of out ahead of these two areas of thunderstorm activity. Okay? So that's something we're going to keep an eye on. If we continue to have this lighter rainfall activity out ahead of the main line, which that kind of looks like what we're going to be dealing with, then our severe weather threat's going to go down relatively quickly. Okay, so again, don't want to get anybody's emotions super high. We're not going to be dealing with what we was dealing with yesterday, but nonetheless, we're still going to be we still have a severe weather threat until we say so otherwise, right? But that's definitely some good news in our direction with this rain that's kind of developed out ahead of the main line. So here is the Futurecast radar. So let's kind of look to see what the Futurecast radar is showing here. So this is the HRRR model, and it is 6 o'clock Central now. So right here is kind of what the radar is looking like currently. And again, nothing really impressive on the radar here on the Futurecast, but then we get closer to 7. Again, these storms are, in my opinion, on the Futurecast radar, excuse me, are showing these storms a little bit more strong, or their Futurecast radar is showing stronger storms than what the radar is currently showing, right? The Futurecast is showing some stronger storm activity moving into the central Kentucky area. This is 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. And this is pretty much going to be right along the I-65 corridor from Bowling Green to E-Town, moving to the northeast. And those storms slowly weaken. And then as we head into after the midnight, again, the severe weather threat's over at this point. But as we get into the early morning hours, we're still going to have rounds of rainfall. Some could have some isolated storm activity mixed in the area here. Again, not looking at any type of severe weather after the first kind of round of thunderstorm activity moves through. So we're not going to be dealing with, any type of storm activity 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning like we was yesterday. So everybody will get to sleep tonight, and we'll get to sleep peacefully without having to worry about any type of severe weather, okay? So, again, that's kind of what the Futurecast radar is showing. Around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock hour, that's when it's showing, that first round of thunderstorm activity moving into central Kentucky. So we'll keep an eye on it to see how things kind of evolve. Again, just based off the radar, I'm not overly impressed with the radar whatsoever. I'll look at the radar real quickly on my phone app. Sometimes it gives me a little bit better of an idea, and I'm not seeing anything that's overly impressive, okay? So that's at least some good news. Again, timing, we kind of went over that, but this is the timing from the National Weather Service again. Pretty much what I just said. We're looking at anywhere between the 8, 9 o'clock hour. National Weather Service has between 8 to 10 Eastern time, so that pretty much matches up with what I just said. So that's what we're looking at there. Additional rainfall expected for tonight. Anywhere between a ½ inch up to an inch. Your darker greens, you're looking at a ½ inch up to an inch. That's the majority of the state. So rainfall across the region, which we will get an update from our drought situation on Thursday. So we'll see where we stand. I feel like the rainfall that we got yesterday is going to help a lot. A lot of rainfall the last 24 hours. It ranges across the region. Adair County has picked up an inch of rainfall over the last 24 hours. Greene County in 1.4 inches. 1.04 inches. Taylor County 0.62, almost an inch in Hart County. Almost 3/4 of an inch in LaRue County. 8/10 of an inch in Elizabethtown. 1 inch in Bowling Green. Almost an inch in Marion County. So looks like most of the area received at least 3/4 of an inch of rain over the last 24 hours. Everybody's likely to get close to another ½ inch, so that's definitely going to help the drought situation. Like I said, we'll get an update on that come Thursday. So we'll see where the region stands as far as the drought is concerned. So let's go back to the radar here real quick. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to throw them in there. Again, severe thunderstorm watch is in effect until 1 o'clock Central, 2 o'clock Eastern. And again, I don't expect this to be as severe as what we seen last night. This is everything I see on radar is a lot weaker so far. Again, we're transitioning into the nighttime period. We're going to lose that daytime heating. And then we just have a lot of rainfall that has developed kind of out ahead of the main line there. And that's kind of taken a lot of the energy away from any type of severe weather. So we're going to keep an eye on things. Definitely don't want anybody to let their guard down, because we are still officially under that severe thunderstorm watch until 1 Central, 2 Eastern. So we'll keep an eye on everything to see how things evolve as we progress into the evening hours. All right, let's get the radar pulled back up here. All right, reading the comments here. Teresa, radar that I use on my personal phone is RadarScope. I just find it easier to use from a mobile device, personally. Maddie, no, we're not looking at a big tornado threat for anybody this evening. Not a big tornado threat whatsoever. A very low tornado threat, actually. Jaden, the number one threat with any type of severe weather this afternoon would be damaging winds. But again, I'm just not seeing it on the radar. I'm not seeing anything significant that really shows a big severe weather threat. I'm just not seeing it on the radar right now. I mean, you guys see the radar just like I do, and I just don't see any type of storm that is, screaming severe, any type of severe weather. There's no damaging wind threat. There's no tornado threat. There's no hail threat with these storms moving in from western Tennessee, western Kentucky. These are just, your common everyday thunderstorms, some brief heavy rainfall, some gusty winds, and some lightning. But, there's nothing that is severe warned. If we zoom out here, the only severe thunderstorm warning we have is down here in northern Mississippi. So the National Weather Service is, they're seeing the same thing that we are. None of these storms is really producing anything. There's not even a special weather statement. The only special weather statement you see is down here in the southern part of Tennessee, the southern part of western Tennessee there. And again, special weather statements is, statements that the National Weather Service issue when storms are just below severe limits. So these storms are not even to that point. So unless we see something drastic here over the next 1 to 2 hours, which is possible. We are in Kentucky. We see crazy stuff in the weather department all the time, but just again looking at the radar here, I don't see anything that's really significant. So again, a couple strong severe storms is possible, but I'm not overly impressed with what the radar is showing. And I don't want anybody to let their guard down, but as far as being on edge and really expecting some, noisy storms or anything significant, I wouldn't expect that at this point. So again, radar app that I use on my phone is RadarScope. I personally find it a little bit easier to use. That's just what I've had. Part of it's probably because I'm kind of stuck in my ways. That's the only radar app that I've had on my phone since I have had a phone, honestly. So I've had it over the course. I've had it since 2011, 2012, 2010-ish, somewhere in that area. and it's just very easy to use for me, and it's I've came to trust it. But as far as broadcasting, RadarScope is not the best app from a broadcasting perspective. I find WeatherWise and Radar Omega. There's kind of two apps that I use from a broadcasting perspective. We use WeatherWise here. The layout's much better. Everything just looks cleaner. We can pull Radar Omega up and kind of look at that if we need to. Let's see here. Clarksville, Tennessee. Again, I'm not expecting anything significant in Clarksville either. So let me switch it over real quickly. Now this is Radar Omega, and it looks just a little bit different from WeatherWise, and I like Radar Omega too. You're able to see these weaker storms a little bit better. Kind of gives you a little bit better idea of kind of what we're looking at here. Again, these storms are just not impressive. So we'll put a little bit of a motion on this radar here. Again, it's kind of the same situation. Here is your area of strong thunderstorm activity, kind of in these areas right here, kind of in two waves, 1 and 2. But you see this rain that is kind of developed out ahead of it. Again, that is taking the energy away from these storms and kind of choking them off. And that's kind of what you're seeing here as you know, the past hour of radar data has filtered in here. These two areas of thunderstorm activity has kind of weakened here over the last little bit. Looking through the comments here, got a question on when do I expect the rain to move into Glasgow. Probably looking at least an hour or so before it really gets into Glasgow. We'll go back here to the timing from the National Weather Service. So again, I expect the majority of this storm activity, rain or storm activity, to move into the central Kentucky area between 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. So it's getting a little bit closer, slower, and slower. But again, I've said it at least 5 or 6 times. I'm just not seeing anything that really alarms me here on the radar for any type of severe weather. I'm just not seeing it. And that goes for all of Central Kentucky. I don't really see anything that really screams severe weather. I'm just not seeing it. We'll go to the Hopkinsville radar here. Again, we're using Radar Omega now, and you go to the Hopkinsville radar, and I mean, these storms even look, weaker than what the Nashville radar was showing. Obviously, it's a little bit closer, so it's going to show these storms, it's going to show them the better view of them. But no, we're not expecting anything like we did last night. So I've seen 5 or 6 people ask that. We're not expecting to see anything like we did last night. So no worries on that front. No worries on that front. Again, this is slowly moving to the northeast out of western Middle Tennessee and out of western Kentucky. Now switch it to Radar Omega here so you guys can see these storms just a little bit better. Again, these storms are just your normal thunderstorms we have here in Kentucky. These storms are going to be able to produce some brief heavy rainfall, which we do need. We need all the rain we can get. You're going to see maybe a little bit of small hail, some gusty winds, maybe 30, 35 miles an hour, maybe 40 if you're pushing it, and some lightning. These storms are producing quite a bit of lightning. You see the lightning tracker there. But we'll see how this line evolves. I mean, we still got a long way to go. I don't want anybody to let their guard down by no means. Still a chance for some isolated severe weather, but overall I'm not seeing anything that really alarms me, okay? So with that being said, I'm going to end the live stream. We're going to keep an eye on the radar. We'll probably do at least one more live video. We'll probably shoot for another live video here in about an hour as this cluster of thunderstorm activity gets just a little bit closer to central Kentucky. We'll say 45 minutes to an hour earlier if needed. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'm going to grab me a little bite to eat, get a little re-energized, and then we will for sure do at least one more live video. That way everybody's aware of what's going on. But again, I want to re-emphasize this. I'm not overly concerned of the severe weather threat this evening into tonight, okay? So obviously don't let your guard down. Pay attention to the radar. Pay attention to social media, whatever you need to do to stay weather aware. But so far, I'm not impressed with anything on radar, and I'm not overly concerned about our severe weather potential this evening into tonight. That doesn't mean anything because you guys know how Kentucky weather is. But that's just my 2 cents on it as of right now. So we'll do another live video here we'll say 30 minutes to an hour, somewhere in that time frame. And I'll give you guys the latest information